How do you know when you're actually ready for change or transformation? Well, if you imagine that there's 3 stages you could be in. The first stage is sort of apathetic. You're just not really motivated. You don't really care about change, and you're not feeling motivated to work out. You're not feeling motivated to do anything different. And then the second stage is that you feel very motivated. Maybe something happened and it's really kind of lit a fire under you. And then there's a third phase, which we refer to as relaxed intent. Basically, it's you're motivated, but you're also relaxed about it. And it's when you get to that phase that real change and transformation occurs. And so to give you an idea, let's say you're kind of in that first phase, you're apathetic. Now, if you're apathetic, it doesn't mean that you're just lazy or that you just don't care. We have other things that are important to us. Now, that second phase where you are feeling really motivated, you would think that's the phase where transformation really occurs. But ever since we've been meeting with people to sign them up for the gym, and I always dig into their goals, one of the things that's really been kind of surprising to me has been that a lot of times the people that seem to want something the most, when they're the most motivated, like I've had people break down crying in front of me when we're sitting and I'm asking them about their goals. I'm asking about why it's important to them and what they've tried in the past. And I've had people start crying, and I used to think, oh, they are ready to change. And after doing this for years and years, I've actually learned that's a bit of a red flag. Like usually when someone comes to tears in how bad they feel they're in right now, when the moment is so bad that they cry, that actually is kind of a red flag to me that they're not quite ready yet. Because I think what's happening, and this is what I've experienced in my own life, is when you feel desperate, when you feel like you have to have that change right now, like things are just so bad that things have to be different right now, then we start to grasp onto it too tightly, and we become maybe what you call needy, or again, desperate. And if you've ever, I know in the dating world, okay, if you're a needy person, you probably are not going to do very well in the dating world. Most people are repelled by needy people. And I think that's true in every endeavor we take. If you are too desperate, if you want something too much, you can often end up actually pushing it away. And so that's why there's one more step to really being ready to change, and that is relaxed intent. Having relaxed intent. And what is that? That's where you want something, but you're also okay with not getting it, in the sense that having that thing is not equated to you being worthy or a good enough person. And I think where that really comes down to is having an appreciation for where you're at now. If you can be happy with where you're at now, then you can see what you want and approach it with a relaxed intent. So I think that's kind of the big conflict. It's that desperation comes when we aren't happy with where we're at, and we think that we can't be happy unless we have this external thing. To bring this into what to do to actually get to that stage, I want to give you 3 steps to actually move from motivated into having relaxed intent around that. And the first is to just start with appreciating where you're at right now. And the easiest way I've found to do this in my own life is to think about, is there any world where someone, or maybe a past version of myself, would love to be where I am right now? So whenever I'm struggling with something, I think, is there a time in my life when I would have loved to be in this problem right now, in this situation? For instance, let's take weight loss. Okay, you might have 100 pounds that you want to lose, and you feel like, I just can't be happy with this 100 pounds. But there is somebody out there that when they get to where they only have 100 pounds left to lose, that is an achievement for them. That is something that they are celebrating. And if they would gladly trade places with where you're at right now. And I think just kind of thinking about that can help sort of appreciate, wow, this is where I'm at. Or thinking in terms of like as far as exercise, I know sometimes people feel like, oh, I just hate exercise. I hate working out. I just can't get motivated. Or I'm so out of shape. I haven't worked out in months and I'm just intimidated to get back in the gym and start working out again. I just feel no motivation because of that. There are people out there who don't have the option to work out. They haven't worked out in years because they can't work out. Whether it's maybe a disability or they're just in a situation where their obligations won't even allow them to. And so when I think about that, and I go, there is somebody who would gladly trade places with where I'm at, even though I'm out of shape. If that's where I'm at, even though I haven't worked out in a long time, somebody else would go, you know what, if I could be in the same place as him, I would gladly jump back into working out. And when I think in those terms, I think, man, I do have a lot to be grateful for. And so that would be the first step, is just think, what do you have to be grateful for in this moment right now so that you're not desperate for that outcome? Then the second thing, there's one way to guarantee getting what you want. Time is the biggest factor for getting anything you want in your life. In other words, if you want to be a millionaire, could you be a millionaire tomorrow? Probably not. But if I said, if you had the right coaching, the right process, and you had 50 years to be a millionaire, could you be a millionaire? Probably. Could you lose 20 or 30 pounds in 6 weeks? Possibly, but it would be really difficult, and not everybody could. It depends on kind of where you're at right now. However, could you do it in 6 months? Again, with a plan, you could probably do it fairly easily, or at least with a lot less struggle. So when you add time to something, it makes it a lot easier. So this is, I think, one of the keys, and this is one of the things when we are desperate for something, we want it right now. But if you could just go, you know what? I'm going to be hopefully alive 3 months from now or 3 years from now. And could I see a world where if I didn't get what I wanted for 3 more months, I could be okay with it? Or if you have really ambitious goals, what about 3 years from now? Could you see a world where you could be okay with not getting what you're wanting for 3 years, as long as you knew that you could get there and have the rest of your life with that thing? I think of like getting your black belt. In Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it's kind of considered like expect a 10-year road. And that can be really defeating. But if you think about it, hopefully if all goes well, you're going to be here in 10 years either way. So the only question is, are you going to have a black belt or not? And so when you can go, you know what, I'm okay with, I'm going to be a black belt. I'm just going to add in the guarantee, which is a little bit of time. And then the third thing is carving out small wins. So sometimes we call these non-scale victories. But basically, if you can set up small wins, see, people don't like to be consistent. They like to win and have lots of small wins. And so the key to consistency is actually finding ways to win along the route. And this is one of the reasons why I love martial arts. There are so many different ways that you can win. Like for instance, you could just show up and learn how to hit the speed bag and keep a rhythm on the speed bag. You can develop your flexibility, be able to kick up to head level. You can find so many different things. You can learn a 9-strike combination. You can take an hour and really get down this really nice combination that you come up with. I mean, you can set up so many different ways to win that you could have new wins every day, every week, every month, and those will just compound. So if you can find sort of like build a path up the mountain instead of just being focused on getting to the top, but have a path. That's sort of what we do a lot with our nutrition clients. And in fact, I have to give a huge shout out to Monica, who came up to me today. And I think she'd be okay with me sharing this story. And basically, I've been working with her on nutrition, and we track her numbers. And she got down to the 250s, and she was really nervous because that's always been where she has plateaued in the past, has been in the 250s. And so she was getting really nervous that she was going to plateau and then fall off, because that's what's happened in the past. But because we've set up a series of small wins that we track that have little to do with the scale, in the sense that she wins as long as she does these other things and the weight is just a byproduct, because we've got those set up, she showed up today and she came up to me and she said, guess what? Hopped on the scale today, I was 247. And that is such a huge win for her. She has not gotten to break through those 250s in a long time. And but by having this relaxed intent process in place, she was able to relax and with intent move into that newest low weight. So anyway, I hope that gives you a little idea. If you heard some fussing earlier, we are not torturing anybody. My little guy, I think, is sick, and he was dealing with some stomach stuff, so he was grunting in the background. But anyway, bye.